Chiefs beat the Niners. Unfortunately, not much of a shock because it feels like Patrick Mahomes cannot lose to the San Francisco 49ers, which
Patrick Mahomes cannot lose in general. That's the problem.
I mean, that's very true, dude. Okay,
for the rest of the league,
I'll be as short as I can with this. So I have I don't know what to call it, like a friendship parlay, which it sounds dumb, but me and 5 of my buddies, every single week, we each pick one game and we throw $10 on it. And we're all like rooting for it. Obviously, like if it hits, it's a big deal because it's a 6-leg parlay, whatever. Last week, the Chiefs were the last team that we needed to hit on this 6-game parlay. And it was just money line. We just needed the Chiefs to win. And obviously they won, so we won the bet, and it was fantastic. But as the game is going on, I mean, this is San Francisco 49ers. It's a really great team. It's a Super Bowl rematch. It's in San Francisco. The Chiefs, they have so much less, it feels like every single year. Like, how much can Patrick Mahomes do with less? We were sweating it out. And after the game got kicked, we're sitting here in the chat, and we're going, is this what it's like to be a Chiefs fan? This is fantastic. Every single time something needs to happen, it just happens. Like even the turnover at the goal line, it's like we were sweating at that point in the game, and all of a sudden, boop! All right, turnover, Chiefs ball. There we go, fantastic. Chiefs fans, you have a wonderful life. I know it's stressful when it's basically like Super Bowl or bust, but holy cow, it was fun being a Chiefs fan for a week. Let me tell you.
The Chiefs are this insane team where whenever they need 6 yards, they get 7. Whenever they need 4 yards, they get 5. Whenever they need 10 yards, they get 11. Whenever they need, 2, they get 3. They're the most like efficient team that's like we've ever seen in the NFL history. And a lot of that is Patrick Mahomes. And you would probably think, like, if you looked at those numbers for any other team, you would say, this is not sustainable.
No.
But it's Patrick Mahomes and
Yep.
It's Andy Reid. And it's like, well, I guess it is, man. It's crazy. It makes no sense to me, but they're good. They're good. Patrick Mahomes, man.
So obviously, this isn't a segment about Patrick Mahomes. We can talk about him forever, but we are going to talk about the quarterback on the other side of things. Brock Purdy in this game, 17 for 31, over 200 passing yards, no passing touchdowns, 3 interceptions here in this game. But I think, Seth, the bigger story is not necessarily how Brock Purdy played in this game, although we obviously are going to talk about that a little bit here. It's the fact that Brandon Ayuk, now down for the year, torn ACL. You got Deebo Samuel. He was dealing with an illness. He was not able to play. Christian McCaffrey has not played at all yet this year. Juwan Jennings missed his game with a hip injury. I know that Juwan Jennings should be back. Ricky Pearsall, who they drafted very high, should be able to now step in. That's the whole reason why you draft a player like this, is so hopefully he's able to come in and play well. And he was fantastic at Florida, so I think that he will come in and play well. Now, as well as a Deebo Samuel or Brandon Ayuk, yeah, probably not, but it will at least be serviceable. What's the outlook of this team, though? What's the outlook of Brock Purdy? How much faith do you have in this team and what he's able to do with at least Brandon Ayuk down for the year now?
I'm super interested in what this offense is going to look like going forward. You lose, like you said, all those guys, I won't mention them again. Deebo Samuel, like, find out he has pneumonia. He's in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, maybe, in a week, is he going to play? I guess, but I mean, I don't really know. I'm not a doctor. I don't know how pneumonias work. So, and even if he does play, is he going to be at like full health? So now you're in a situation where, like you said, you're expecting Juwan Jennings to play. But after that, like, there's just a lot of unproven guys, and like Ricky Pearsall and the high pick, and Chris Conley and the other guy, Cowing, who's high pick, so or a rookie. So you're looking at the thing and saying, like, well, how could we beat man coverage? That is kind of the thing that I'm super interested in. Your 2 best man coverage players, Christian McCaffrey and Ayuk, are. One of them is for sure not playing the rest of the year. The other one, like, it wouldn't surprise me if we don't see Christian McCaffrey for a long time this season if he does play. So, where are your beaters? Where are your man coverage beaters? And what happens a lot in this offense is, now, the first thing I'll say is most teams do not play man coverage against the San Francisco 49ers because you have a lot of motion, stacks, bunches. It doesn't really allow you to play a lot of man coverage because they're going to try and create miscommunication in who's covering who. and the defense is left kind of uncovering guys or playing with bad leverage or stuff like that. So there's that aspect. The other thing is they run the ball so well that they're very rarely in third and medium or third and long, and that's when you see less man coverage. When you're in third and shorts, you're going to get man coverage. The statistics back this up. Or third and medium to short, you're going to get man coverage. And they used to have the guys who were able to win man coverage in those situations. So you're running the ball well. They're still running the ball well, even with Jordan Mason in there, because the offensive line, the play calling is they're a great run blocking unit as a whole. So you're getting into these. They're always going to be in these third and quote unquote manageable situations. Are they as manageable now when you don't have Christian McCaffrey and Brandon Ayuk? That is where I'm looking at it like, I don't know what this offense can look like. I think that with Purdy's kind of playmaking ability that he's always kind of been this player, but he's obviously showing a lot more, throwing the ball more downfield, scrambling more, doing all that stuff. It's been a little hit or miss. But I think they're going to need that to be hit a lot more than it is miss going forward. And yeah, I think those are kind of my concerns going with this offense. I think there's protection issues as well. They're lucky that they don't have to play Steve Spagnuolo and that defense again until maybe the Super Bowl, because he just gives them so much trouble, and it gives them trouble in other defensive and other defensive coordinators like don't want to do. But yeah, that's kind of where I am with this offense. Like, it is going to be on probably Shanahan just to continue to create first read open receivers, and then Purdy, when it's not there because they're not getting the separation that they're used to, making plays, which he has done more this year. But yeah, making plays out of structure.
Yeah, so I think that I definitely agree with you. This has been the best year yet that we have seen from Brock Purdy when it comes to how much is on his plate. How much of the percentage is he a piece of the pie for the offense's success this year? To me, it's at its highest percent that we have seen over the last 3 years in total. This is the third year on his rookie contract. He's got one more year, obviously not as a first-round pick. The fourth year would be the last year on his rookie deal. And we're having conversations about, okay, well, what do you do with this guy? Because it seems like every starting quarterback that signs is signing somewhere for $50-ish million per year at this point when you talk about guys that are capable of winning a Super Bowl. Well, there's a lot of team effort that goes into winning a Super Bowl, but Brock Purdy's, a couple of plays away from being a reigning Super Bowl quarterback right now. And he's not. Patrick Mahomes is for another time, but he's close, right? He was there. He operated this offense very, very well. And I think obviously 49ers fans don't want to go through the injuries that they are going through, but I think from an objective standpoint, this is a really great analysis second half of the year now of whether or not you think that this guy is irreplaceable to the point where you would give him a monster contract, because that's going to be a pivotal part of the 49ers team building moving forward. It's not just about, well, you either have a quarterback or you don't, and you do with Brock Purdy, so you sign him. You can operate like that, but then you have to understand what that does. Brock Purdy would then be very clearly, without question, the highest paid player on the team by a wide margin. And at that point, over the next, it doesn't necessarily have to be so drastic immediately, but I would say 2 years, 3 years, 4 years removed from when he signs that deal, all of a sudden now you start having to make your squeezes. So you have to think about, does our Super Bowl window stay open with Purdy if we sign him to this monster contract? Do we believe in the team building, particularly with him? Because it feels as though before this, it was like, okay, we are building our Super Bowl window through our defense, through the defensive studs that we have, and Fred Warner and Nick Bosa and guys like that. And then on the offensive side of the ball, it's Trent Williams, it's Christian McCaffrey, it's Deebo Samuel, it's Brandon Ayuk, it's George Kittle, it's guys like that. You will then have to make tough decisions on those players. And by tough decisions, I mean you can't keep all of them. Trent Williams is getting older, so he's not going to be around there forever. And then you're just not going going to be able to have those studs. So can you draft some? Yes, you can. And that becomes even more required when you have a quarterback that is no longer playing like a franchise caliber quarterback on a rookie contract, rather a franchise caliber quarterback on a franchise caliber quarterback type of deal. So I agree with you completely. I think that you kind of talked about it from a what does the offense look like for this team overall? Mainly looking at it from this year, do they survive? Is it something where we can be confident in this team making the playoffs, being a deep playoff run team, depending on how Brock Purdy plays? I'm looking at it from a little bit further out, especially as a draft guy and a team building guy. I'm looking at 2, 3, 4 years down the road. And if Brock Purdy is able to play at a still fantastic level here without some of his top playmakers, then I think you got no choice but to make that decision to sign him, because you believe that he can be that guy for you. But once you do that, you just put your franchise in a completely different situation, and you have to be okay with navigating that, and you have to be even more okay with saying, this is who we build the team around moving forward, because you are paying him like that. So that's a massive part of this as well. It is not just what is Brock Purdy like this year. The second half of the season now is a massive evaluating tool for how long the 49ers winning window and Super Bowl window is going to stay open after 2024.
Trevor, you cannot pay me enough money to wade into the Brock Purdy contract discourse. Like, there's no chance I'm getting into it. I'm gonna say sure, bud, and I'm gonna tell you about their protection issues right now because I don't want to talk about it.
That's fine. I did it for you. Right there. Do you have any other non-Brock Purdy takes that you want to get out before we wrap up here?
Yeah. So like the defense is also injured. Like, let's not forget that they're going to be in games. Like there's no, getting out to a lead and sustaining a lead throughout the game because the defense is playing so well. The run defense, I think, is especially going to be problematic going forward without Hargrave, and you still don't have Dre Greenlaw back, though hopefully he will come back. You're without Hufanga, though Mike Mustafa did a lot of Hufanga impersonations in this game against the Chiefs last week, which is nice to see. Cornerback room is also outside of Travarius Ward interesting. So, but yeah, I'll talk about some protections before we get out of here because I think it's super interesting. I talked about it with Jordan Love. Jordan Love having a little bit more control. One of their issues, and Spags is the guy who always puts them on the spot for it, is they call the protection in the huddle. They go out there and they run the play. And when you watch, and so this week they're playing against Dallas on Sunday Night Football on NBC at 8:20 p.m. Eastern time. Dak will go to the line of scrimmage and look at the especially on third down. He'll look at the defense. They might have a motion, but really it's like, we're pretty static. We're going to look at the defense and we're going to make a decision on how we protect it. I'm not going to have free rushers. If I cannot throw hot, I'm not going to throw hot. The 49ers kind of sit there and they set the protection in the huddle, and then they kind of run that play. Now, a lot of that has to do with they want to be a motion team even on third down. Top 5 motion rate in general, and then top 5 motion rate on third down. So when you do all this motion on third down, and you're changing the picture before the snap, you don't really want to be a team that you don't really have the time to change the protection and get into the right protection based on the defensive look. So they live in the world where, hey, for the most part, we're going to protect it and we're going to be okay against most teams. But Spags has shown that he will get a free rusher. And this year they've been a little worse. They're like top 10 in allowing free rushers this season. So that's really where the issues are going to be and where teams can get after them, especially when you don't have that quick man beating, quick hot route answer without Ayuk and especially without Christian McCaffrey. I keep going back to, I'm super interested to see how this offense looks going forward. I think there's a lot just to like about the offense, but it's up in the air.
It will be an interesting second half evaluation for this team. No matter what, especially because, after that loss, San Francisco sitting here at 3-4. And, like a lot of people talked about this team to maybe make it back to the Super Bowl and be the clear winner of this division. Well, they're below 500 now, and some of their stars are either haven't been out there or are not going to be out there for the rest of the season. So we will see what Kyle Shanahan is made of, what Brock Purdy is made of, and it'll make for an interesting second half of the season there for the 49ers for sure.